Aloha!
Aloha!
My name is Krista Raalaksmi-Detten,
And I'm Michael Ditton.
and we are Infinite,
Activation.
coming to you from
Southern California, San Diego.
today. I went to a hairdresser after 6 months.
And she looks beautiful.
And I was walking on the street, and then a car went by, and the window was down, and something was said, but I didn't hear what was said. But when I got home, I could ask, what was said?
Because I was the one that hollered at her. I'm sure she probably had others too, but yeah.
What did you say?
I said, hey, gorgeous.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing to see that, things are coming back to normal, and also our local, community people who are taking care of us are also able to make money again and do what they love. So that's a really great thing to see. But today we are going to talk about one really important topic, which has been kind of also, I would say, more and more important in our lives too, and that's spirituality.
Absolutely.
And I want to have a little different kind of angle on it, because just a couple of days ago I started to think about it in my own life, and I thought what one of my main problems was that I was so overly spiritual, and it was so huge part of my life that when I started to attract a man into my life, they got so scared many times that they just like took off. That was like too much for them.
Lucky for me.
Yeah. And then I actually one day started to also dream that I would not only like to have a man who is open to spirituality, but also, put their own toe in and try things out, but also to co-create spiritual things with. And it seemed like a complete impossible dream. And recently I was also thinking about other women who have been in my life as friends or clients, and they are struggling with the same thing. I know many who are still till this day maybe married to their partner who is not spiritual, and then they say that a little reason, kind of like, I do my thing, he does his thing, and then we live together, but I can see that they're very unhappy deep inside. And one moment they kind of hit the wall, and then they realize like, okay, this is the time I have to follow my heart and follow what's true to me. And then of course they need to go their separate ways.
Sometimes it happens.
And it's sad when it happens, but sometimes you have to save you in order to be happy. And right now I have a king here, and you have gone through this experience, kind of, you didn't know much about this world before that way, and now you're kind of head and heels in it. So you as a man, like, maybe you also could say, like, share a little bit of that story you have had and then experience. And then also, why do you think men are so afraid of it?
Well, for me, it actually has been part of my life the whole time, maybe just not the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I was actually raised as a Catholic, and my beliefs were, what I was raised to believe. And not that that's changed, I'm still a Catholic. But, part of the spirituality is having a higher power or something to look up to as well. And whether it's God, Jesus, Buddha, I mean, everybody has their own. So when you get into that spiritual part of it, everybody has something. To take it to the next level is basically what has happened to me, because not only did I have, that lower level of spirituality through my religion when I was younger, but I've always had beliefs that there's more to it than that. And I've actually always had the feeling that there's more to it. I'm relatively intuitive. I've had, things happen, events and unusual things throughout my life, which was probably, the universe, spirit, whatever it was knocking at my door to let me know it was there. And of course, at the time, for whatever reason, I was oblivious to it, chose to not accept it or acknowledge it, not listen to that intuition. In fact, Crystal and I talk about it all the time. The day that we met, we actually didn't meet, but I felt her presence. So, and I actually chose to ignore it again.
You kind of felt my spirit in a way, right?
Yeah, yeah. So when Crystal and I got to knowing each other, and because of her spiritual beliefs and being what she called overboard or what have you, she was very excited to share with me her beliefs, and I'm very open.
You didn't run away?
I didn't run away. Actually, I'm intrigued because I've always had a thirst for knowledge and learning and understanding. Crystal, Estonian, me, U.S. I mean, we have cultural differences as well. That is not a negative to me. In fact, that's a positive because I have an opportunity, firsthand experience, to learn more about her world, her country, her beliefs, and everything else. And to me, that's intriguing. I really enjoy that. And as we talked more about the spiritual beliefs, things started to make a little bit more sense to me about the things that I'd had experienced or felt or saw or whatever in the past. And being open to it and receiving that, it basically it was like popping the latch off of a lid, and once it was open for me, it's never going to be closed again. The cool thing for me is, in its infancy, I have an opportunity to continue to learn, and I believe that I've had a lot of gifts that help me learn a lot faster. That intuitiveness, my ability to act as a healer, space holder, things of that nature. These are all gifts that I had that I hadn't been using. Well, I say I hadn't been using.
Some of them you didn't even know you had.
Some I didn't know I had. But as far as space holder, I've actually, come to think of it, been a space holder my whole life. I just didn't realize it.
It's natural.
Yeah. I remember even before Crystal and I met, people used to come up to me all the time, and I would be able to hold space for them and help them through whatever it was they're going through. In fact, people always told me that, I'd make a great counselor, or you've even said lawyer or something, because I can kind of take everything in, allow that part of the process, and then if guidance is wished upon or desired or requested, I can look outside the box and do something different. Again, that's one of my gifts. So opening up, allowing that to happen, which is why a lot of guys don't do it, is because it either may be fear of what they're going to experience,
losing control,
complacency of not wanting to change, ego because they believe that it's maybe feminine or something, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. But you asked why it seems to be more men that have issues than women, and as a man, I can say, a lot of times ego gets in the way. A lot of times a guy will never admit it, but fear gets in the way because it's an unknown. A lot of times they don't want change. They're content or complacent in the way things are, and that's okay. If that's what they want, that's okay. But is
it also a fear of losing control?
It might be a possibility for some people, but I would say it's either the fear of losing control, or it's the control that they have that won't allow them to do it. So, and a lot of time that's where ego comes in. So they say, I don't need that stuff. I'm fine the way I am, or I don't believe in that stuff. And like I said, if somebody is looking to expand or open or see what else is out there, and they allow themselves to stick the toe in, like you said, some people they're gonna receive it. Some people are gonna test it and say that's not for me. And the only thing I have to say is, if you stick your toe in and you're not certain, just don't give up on it. Talk to somebody.
Maybe it's a different thing you have to try.
Yeah, it's maybe a different thing. Don't give up on it unless you decide that no, it's not for me, and that's not just a knee-jerk reaction comment, but you've tried it and you say no, it's not for me. That's if you want to try it. If you don't want to try it and you don't want to experience it, you're happy with the way things are. The world is made up of 7-8 billion people, and we're going to have differences. Everybody is different. We all have our own personalities. We all have our own life missions, life purposes, and we're not all going to do the same thing, and that's okay.
Yeah. So in your case, and in many men's case, it's actually when they turn into spirituality the first time is when they have like something really breaks them, or there is like a heartbreak, or something really deep, like emotionally also happens. And that's where so many times I see men actually turn and start to like look inside, like, wow, there is that other world, and I can actually become a friend with it instead of becoming an enemy, as most of them have maybe been.
That's because it wasn't their choice, but that wall had been broken down.
Yeah.
So because that wall had been broken down, they're pretty much, it becomes out of their control to experience that. And a lot of guys will, embrace that. A lot of them still might be cautious or scared over it because it's new or it's foreign or it's different. But normally when somebody's going through that process, it can be very warming. It can be very therapeutic, and it can be very helpful. And you'll find that when you do and you open yourself to it, you're going to find a whole new world out there and a whole bunch of people in that world who are some of the most loving, caring people that are going to nurture and support you through any process that you're going through. So, yeah.
So in your case, you were processing this, personal thing, what just happened, breaking up from your wife of 23 years of marriage. And then kind of luckily, you and I, we met in Mexico. And so you jumped on board, and we had, you ordered like kind of like a 2-week process of healing. So we did different things, so you got to taste like those different techniques, like from mantra and so on. And how was that? Was that too much for you, or was that like a nice introduction that way? Was it really intriguing and like bringing out the curiosity, or how do you feel?
Well, it was almost too much, and that I don't mean that in a negative way, but there was just so many different modalities that with the learning, understanding, processing, integrating, and everything else, it was a very short period of time for as much as that to happen. So that's kind of what I mean by that. But what it did is it was like a sample platter for me. So it gave me an opportunity to kind of get a taste of everything. And whether it was something I really liked or something that I didn't like as much, I knew what was there, what was being offered. And I also knew that that was just the appetizer, and there was a lot more to it. So I didn't look at it as being overwhelmed in a negative way. I looked at it as, oh my God, there's an awful lot to this that I didn't know. I like this sample platter, some things more than others, and now I want to know more.
And for me, what was really amazing that you were so open, and I could talk about everything. You didn't foo-fooed it, so you were really there. And then I could also like discuss or even like ask your opinion, so which is such a huge thing, because I had experienced, and I think so many women have experienced this over and over again, where men are just like putting them down, like, oh, that's like waste of money and waste of this and waste of that, like, why are you even doing this?
Well, that happened with you when you brought home the angel therapy.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, my first husband, basically, what happened there was when I started to fully do angel therapy as a profession, he couldn't really understand it. So he was like really having trouble with it. And then I looked deeper into myself and thought like, how can I be fully me? If I'm not, this part is not allowed, then we can't even love each other, because that's not like, okay for me.
Yeah.
And then, which was really kind of, the whole process was really weird. And in that process, like, we got actually married, but before that angel therapy came. And when we got married was also the kind of, what you say, like, reason for getting married secretly was so that his parents would not know what I was doing, like, spiritual work and such. That was like not a good thing, especially in Estonia at that time.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
No lights went off then, but nowadays she knows better.
Yeah. So, and then, from that moment when you get married to someone in a secrecy, so what future does that have? It's kind of, you already divorced from yourself, so please don't do it. Like, be smarter than me. And what I would like people to maybe think by the end of this video is, it doesn't matter whether you are already in a relationship or not, but what role does spirituality play in your life? What it is for you, who and what do you believe? And why this is so important is because this is part of your worldview. And when you are going to get together with a new partner, so it's so much easier when your worldviews are actually pretty compatible. They don't need to be like completely, equally similar. Like in our case, we are from different countries and we believe in very many similar things, but we have our uniqueness,
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also, even if we have differences, we allow the other to have a difference. We don't force the other that you have to be that way or you have to believe that way.
Everybody's going to have differences. We're all our own unique person with our own personality, our own minds, our own, even though we have similar life mission, we have separate life purposes which are driven towards that life mission. So, I mean, that's normal. That's life.
And for me, once we started to really get to know each other better and go deeper, and then the next level was basically when we started to do work together.
Mm-hmm.
And those first live events we also did in Estonia, and especially the workshops we have done during the Tantra Fest and some other ones. So it felt to me, it is kind of like similar to like making love, in a public place, because our energies were playing off from each other. You were holding space, and checking that everything is there, everything is going as needed. We prepared really well. I never prepared the way we have now with Michael, do the details and tease, how many pens and papers and paper clips and stuff, and it drove me absolutely mad in the beginning. But now it's like it's a new norm.
It makes life easier.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't start to prepare like just 5 hours before. We do it earlier. And what was so deeply touching for me also was that moment during the Inner Family workshop during the Tantra Fest. Some people may have heard that story, but you went into that inner family meditation and something really big happened, which was kind of confirming your spiritual path. Can you just say a couple of words about that?
Well, in a nutshell, I don't normally participate in what we're
doing
teaching.
The practices.
Yeah, because I am holding space for everybody and doing my own part as well. But in this particular incident, Crystal was guiding people through a meditation. Well, I didn't really need to do anything physical. The room was set. Everybody was there. It was an opening meditation and everything else. So I relaxed. I closed my eyes and I went along for the journey. And this journey took people to a place where they would actually look for, meet, and unite, get to know their inner family. And everybody's experience was different. But mine turned out to be, not only did I get there and find my inner family, but it was glorious. I saw, green, meadows and pastures and trees and blue sky and sunshine, and my inner family had a picnic blanket, food. They're out, galloping around in the grass and having fun and being joyous. I mean, it was one of the most incredible experiences to see my inner family playing and having such a wonderful time, that I realized at that point that I was very fortunate, but I also realized that I was doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And it was really amazing also what happened afterwards. It was like, floodgates went open, and, possibilities and things came to us. And also some of the people from that festival, actually some women, came to us, and especially for you, to do a session, because they said, I just felt you guys are so safe and you are a couple, so I feel that this can't be going wrong, And that was really amazing to hear, that we kind of had that impact and influence on people, so that they felt safe, so that they could come and open up more.
Yep.
So to finish it up, what would you say as an encouragement for women? They may be as desperate as I was, like there will be, it will be so hard to find that spiritual man, or someone I can co-create that way. And then once you say that, also what would you say for men who are scared about those woo-foo things?
Well, as far as women go, don't give up on the men, but don't try to force anything, because that's just going to have an opposite effect. But try to include or incorporate your boyfriend, spouse, friend, partner, whoever. Invite to things, and if they say no, that's okay. But continue to invite. Ask if they would like to know more about what you are doing, and if so, share. Don't necessarily, share with them without asking, because if you think about it, if somebody really doesn't want something, there's a reason why they don't. A lot of times, it may not really be a valid reason. It may be stubbornness or something else, okay? So if it's not forced upon them, if it's just stubbornness, and they're seeing that somebody's having a good time, that they're, having a good experience, that things are really going well, that curiosity may actually open the door for them to want to know. So one time you're going to ask and they say no, the next time they may say, you know what, go ahead and tell me about it. But I can pretty much assure you, if you're trying to shove something down somebody's throat, it will never open the door. If anything, it's going to cement the door shut forever. So,
just to add to it, one of the mistakes I did as a woman, I invited them in, but then it's like when you are like snorkeling, and then as a free diver, I went like straight down and then pulled them down with me,
right.
And they were like suffocating, like, oh my God, like this is like first time, like I can't, and then you're like, what's wrong with you?
It has to be baby steps, because obviously you're going to be excited that you finally have the opportunity to share with somebody, but you also have to know that a person has to crawl before they walk and then walk before they run. So in any new experience, you have to keep that in mind, and bites, baby bite sizes, baby steps. Share a little bit, let it digest, let it process, share a little bit more. So it's a process that if you truly love and want that other person, whether it's a partner, friend, whoever, to experience what you want, it's taking the time and doing it that way is going to be well worth it. If after a while it doesn't work, then you need to think of a different plan. But it's worth the wait if you truly want them to experience.
Definitely is. That's my experience.
Yeah. So.
And for the men,
as far as the men go, you know what? Everybody's a tough person, and I just say, try it. You might like it.
I have two things I'll say for men, which always work.
Yeah.
Your sex life may get better.
Yep.
And your numbers may get better. Yeah. I mean, if you have business, and you will learn the techniques how to include the invisible world, and have the connections or things you need, and it comes to you easier. Yeah. So business better and spirituality better. Like, what would you say? Would you say yes or no? So that's the question.
Yeah, I will. I've said this over and over again as well. The things that I've experienced, some of it are natural for me, like making sure a woman's cup is full. But I can tell you the rewards of being spiritual, being around, like-minded people, kind people, generous people, people that are always serving, wanting the world to be a better place, wanting to be the best version of themselves. You can't go wrong hanging out with those people. And when you are hanging with those people and you are giving, or you're true from your heart, you're going to have those people around. But it also, when you fill somebody else's cup, like I do for Crystal, or I try to do the best that I can, not only does she get rewarded by having a full cup, but when she overflows, everybody around her, including me, gets rewarded as well. And that's part of the spirituality is, I do take care of myself, but part of taking care of myself is making sure that her cup's full, because if her cup's full, it's a double win for me. So,
and it's also, as women naturally are more spiritual, when a woman is in a relationship and can feel that I can be fully me, I don't have to hide it or
right.
do it like around the corner or whatever, then I can be fully me, and it's so beautiful. As a man, you have now a woman who is there fully who she is, and it's blossoming, it's courage, it's, they are starting to, create the things they are here, and then as a man, you can be there and support, This last Tantra Fest, we were there, and so many people came to us and said, thank you that you're doing what you're doing as a couple. You inspire me. You give me hope that this is possible, that it's not like impossible dream.
Yep.
And that really warms our hearts to, know that we are on the right path.
Never get tired of hearing that.
Yeah. So to finish up, I also thought that people may have thought like, this is weird, like Crystal is walking on the street and Michael is driving by and not stopping. What's wrong?
This was prearranged, by the way.
So what happened there?
Well, Crystal, as she mentioned, went to go to get her haircut, and I went to go get errands done. Yeah. And we were going to communicate either when she was done or I was done, which we did. And part of the plan was, if she was up for it, we're not too very far from the hairdresser, and she hasn't gotten her steps in today. She goes, I'll probably just walk. And I said, well, when I pass by, if you change your mind, let me know, or I'll meet you at home, or if you change your mind, call me and I'll come get you. So I had sent her a text just moments before she called me, and she says, I'm going to go ahead and walk. And I said, okay, I'll be passing you by in a minute. And of course, when I did, I had to hoot and holler at the gorgeous woman walking down the street.
Yay. So that's why I wanted to specify was I am together with the true king. And I remember this one time when we were in Hawaii and we had our Estonian adventure group in, and this one lady said, Crystal, I can't believe it. You are really together with the real king. I thought you just like talking about it, but it's actually true. You actually took really good care of her when she had some extra troubles and issues. So that was really amazing to hear. So this is what we have for today. We'll put together little questions about the topic, and we both encourage you all. Please be true to yourself, fully honest, and explore your spirituality, and dive deep, and attract the people who will support you during this journey. And if you have people who can't understand it, you don't have to become a missionary and force them into something you are in. But as Michael said, invite them and see, maybe they will jump on board.
Yep. Don't give up.
Yeah. And if you feel like, wow, I would like to really learn more what Crystal Ra and Michael are doing, and king and queen and spirituality and inner family and all these things, we still do the coaching calls.
Yep, 15-minute power coaching call free. Yeah. All you have to do is sign up for it, and we'll schedule a time.
Yeah. So thank you so much. If this was a value for you, please share, like, and do the tasks, and comment, and all the best.
Mahalo.
May aloha be with you.
Always.